to an SEC showdown going on Saturday. Ole Miss is going to be playing Texas A&M. You got an A&M team off its very first loss, and boy, they're in the middle of a very difficult stretch here playing Ole Miss. They're going to have to play Alabama coming up, and then a trip to defending league champion Auburn. They are a home favorite here, open 2, and I see some 3s now against an undefeated team. And boy, this Ole Miss defense, now their offense is terrific, but boy, what a defense. They're second in the nation, giving up 10.2 points per game. Terrific comeback on Saturday against Alabama, 23-17. Bo Wallace, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and of course the fans stormed the field. So, Sean, if you're into situational handicapping, oftentimes you want to go against teams where the fans storm the field off the huge win. I mean, is this a letdown spot for an undefeated team?
Well, Texas A&M got issues of their own too, and they're not going to forget a few things. We talked about this. This is a 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. It'll be on ESPN. It's a marquee matchup. Ole Miss, and we talked about this, stormed the court from last week, maybe the biggest win since their undefeated 1962 season, and I believe this is the first time they've been 5-0 since 1970 when Archie was there. This year, they win by 25 points a game, covered by 11. They're 1-0 in the SEC West, a major game for these guys. They scored 13, this is Ole Miss now, scored 13 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. We mentioned that, to beat Bama. They lost to A&M last year, 41-38, but they did that as a home dog of 6, so they compete with this team pretty well. Let down for the Rebels. Well, the spot would seem to call for that. A&M coming off a wire-to-wire, and I mean this was a wire-to-wire blowout at Mississippi State. I think they were like a 2.5, 3-point dog. That puts their SEC West record at 1-1 with a road game to Alabama next Saturday. An A&M win here. This is really a big game for A&M. It not only puts them in the driver's seat, even though they're at 2-1, but they would have the tiebreaker against Ole Miss, and that's really big for them. Tough call. I'm not a big Bo Wallace fan, as a matter of fact. This guy has more experience than any SEC quarterback out there, but he blows hot and cold. And if you watch the game, and I saw that whole game, Wallace was really not very good for the first 3 quarters, and then the whole team, especially that defense, came alive, and Wallace looked like Joe Montana, and they win the game. I think A&M will win it, and if they win it, they'll probably cover it. I think this number is probably going to go up there to 3.5 and a 4. So, I'll take A&M and lay the points here.
All right, this A&M offense is just so explosive. Like last year, sophomore quarterback Ken Hill, 21 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. They're currently averaging 47.8 points per game, 5th in the nation in passing, just over 400, and they can run the football as well with 193 yards per game. But boy, all that offense doesn't help it when your defense can't stop anybody. And while they have been pretty good overall, that wasn't the case last week. 48-31, they got down early, ended up giving up 559 yards, including 289 rushing. So I still have to wonder about the defense. And then Hill just, he had 4 touchdowns, a lot of yards, but 3 interceptions. That's not going to get it done. So Jeff, who has the betting edge in this SEC showdown?
Well, Ole Miss has a better team, but when you combine the fact that they're in a letdown situation, plus they're on the road, that's why they're getting 3 points there. The last 2 years, Mississippi has lost this meeting against A&M, but they've covered both times. They lost each game by 3 points. A&M was in a bad spot last week. They were coming off an overtime win against Arkansas, plus there was a 3rd straight game away from home, but Mississippi State was clearly the better team there too. Kenny Hill threw for 365 yards of 4 TDs. But as you mentioned, he had those 3 interceptions. Ole Miss is 3-1-1 against the spread this year. A&M is 3-3. Bo Wallace is completing 69% of his passes, including 14 TDs, 304 yards per game. Ole Miss hasn't been ranked this high in 50 years. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle that, but A&M exposed several of its flaws last week. It allowed 289 rushing yards, 5 for 17 on 3rd down conversions, and had several drop passes. It's going to be hard to correct all those things in 1 week's time. So Ole Miss, an experienced team. They have 60 returning lettermen. Coach Hugh Freeze is 10-5 against the spread off a win. I'm going to say that Ole Miss overcomes that letdown situation and covers the spread here, maybe win the game outright, John.
Well, Texas A&M hasn't been covering of late. 3-7 spread run. I'm going to take a small lean toward the home team here. This is a tough spot for Ole Miss. They played Bama. That was not an explosive offense. It was a methodical, physical team they just played against, and they were down 17-10. So it really was a dogfight. Now they're coming off that emotional win on the road. And now they're heading out on the road. It's a tough place to play, and it's a totally different type of offensive team that they have to prepare for, a speed, no-huddle attack. Last year's meeting, A&M won it by 3 points with 41 points total, 587 yards. They had an edge in rushing, 241 to 133, and they were 9 of 14 on third down, and they even won 2 years ago, 30 to 27. And A&M, when they face a team with a winning record, 8-2 against the spread. So I'll lean a little bit toward the home team in this one. All right, let's go with some best bets and what we have going up for the weekend. Jeff, I'm going to read some of your runs here. In college football, going back last season, 101 wins, 77 losses. You NFL blockbusters, is it 12-1?
12-2.
12-2 going back to last year. You're on a terrific baseball run, 120 and 78. And then, of course, NFL recently, a perfect 10-0 run. How can folks get aboard for this weekend with all that win?
Also, I had the Orioles in each game against the Tigers because being a Detroit fan, I've followed them all season. I knew the Tigers had no chance in that series, so I was 3-0 in that series.
What about 0-1 against Sean Hess? Does that count? No?
Oh, yeah, he's still giving it. Mississippi State's the real deal. They're a legit team, and took them 15 years, but they are an elite team. I'll never hear the end of that.
Don't think I got on you. 25 years that I've known you.
Oh, Sean, are you on a 10-0 run in the NFL?
No, I'm not on a 10-0 run.
I've won 10 NFL games in a row.
You did,
and we're going to keep it going this week. Just
I want your place.
I'm telling you for years. LVSS 1-866-575-8916. You get a free pick every day. Call for all the information on JimFice.com. I'm going to have a 3-game package, including another conference game of the year. I'm 2-0 with conference games of the year this year. Both of them are blowouts. So go to JimFice.com. But call LVSS and get on board. 1-866-575-8916.
And you have a best bet too?
Oh, best bet Arizona plus points over USC.
Okay, and Sean, you got best bet for this weekend?
Believe it or not, I do. I have a home dog, and I'm also in the Pac-12. I'm going to take UCLA plus 3.5 against Oregon.
How about straight up?
Well, all right, I'll go straight up 3.5 points. Why not?
He's going to double.
Line plus to be about plus $1.40. They're not going to give you much. So.
Okay, my best bet will be Penn State. They're playing at Michigan this weekend. They open as a dog. It's a good Penn State team of 4-1, and after a loss, they're 8-1 against the spread. They've had 2 weeks to prepare, and they've owned this meeting of late. Last 4 meetings against Michigan, 4-0 against the spread. If you're looking for winning selections, Jim Feist, 8-3 run with high roller selections. That included the New York Giants on Sunday. Dog of the month winner Saturday with Nebraska. And he has his non-conference game of the year going Thursday in college football. It's available at JimFeist.com. Those plays and more, as well as baseball. All right, that'll do it for this week's edition of the college football version of Pro Line. I thank everybody, and we'll see you next week with another edition. We'll see you then.